Pats Nation, one of New England's biggest stars, has finally admitted that he's frustrated, and it's happened with Week 1 right around the corner. But that's not the only major decision that could land on Mike Vrabel's desk, because one of the most decorated defenders of this generation is still available, and the fit in New England is starting to make a lot more sense than you might think. So, what are the Patriots going to do now? Let's start with Christian Gonzalez, because the situation definitely deserves our attention. The 24-year-old cornerback is still waiting on the massive extension that could make him the highest-paid player at a position in NFL history. For basically the entire offseason, Gonzalez has avoided turning these negotiations into a public contract saga. But now, something has changed. When he was asked about the situation after Tuesday's practice, he finally used a word we hadn't heard from him before: frustrating. And I think that matters. It doesn't mean Gonzalez is asking for a trade or that there's some kind of major fallout between him and the organization. Far from it. He remains focused on the season and has made it clear that he's handling his business. But after spending an entire offseason waiting for this deal to get done, it's impossible to ignore the fact that his patience may finally be getting tested. And here's what makes this whole situation even more interesting. Both sides apparently want the exact same thing. Gonzalez has already said he wants to stay in New England. Robert Kraft has publicly talked about making him the highest-paid Patriot in franchise history. And Elliott Wolf has once again made it clear that the organization views Gonzalez as an elite player and continues working with his representatives to find a deal that works for everybody. So the issue doesn't seem to be convincing Gonzalez to stay or convincing the Patriots that he deserves to be here. The issue is turning that mutual desire into numbers both sides can actually agree on. And now there's another factor putting even more pressure on these negotiations. Devin Witherspoon, another cornerback from the 2023 draft class, landed a massive extension that reset the market at the position. Gonzalez knows exactly where that market stands. And more importantly, he knows what he means to this defense. To me, that's exactly where this delay starts becoming dangerous. The last thing you want heading into a season with this much expectation is one of the biggest stars on your defense answering contract questions every single week. Gonzalez has basically made it clear that his camp has already communicated what they believe he's worth. He also prefers to keep these negotiations behind closed doors. So eventually, you reach a point where continuing to talk about it publicly doesn't help anybody. Now it's on the front office to find that middle ground. Based on everything we've seen so far, a trade seems extremely unlikely. Every indication is that New England wants Gonzalez to remain a cornerstone of this defense this season and for years to come. But there's a huge difference between wanting to keep a player and actually getting his signature on the dotted line. And the closer we get to Week 1, the harder this situation becomes to ignore. To me, Gonzalez is exactly the kind of player a franchise should never allow to get anywhere close to a truly uncomfortable situation. He's only 24 years old. He's already shown he can play at an elite level, and he has the potential to be one of the faces of this defense throughout the prime of his career. If there's anybody on this roster who deserves to be treated like a long-term priority, Gonzalez is right at the top of that list. But while the Patriots are trying to figure out the future of a star who's already inside the building, there's another question moving in the complete opposite direction. Who could still be coming to Foxborough? Mike Vrabel recently raised some eyebrows when he acknowledged that New England still doesn't have the kind of depth he would like. And that gets my attention because we're basically at the doorstep of the regular season. At this point on the NFL calendar, you usually don't find long-term answers just sitting around waiting for the phone to ring. Most of the big names have already signed. Rosters are nearly set, and the list of available options keeps getting shorter. But there are still proven veterans out there who could help immediately. And there's one name still available that I honestly never expected to be talking about in connection with New England at this stage of his career. Bobby Wagner. Yeah, that Bobby Wagner. At 36 years old, obviously he's not the same dominant linebacker who terrorized offenses during the prime of his career. Nobody would bring Wagner to New England expecting the player he was 5 or 6 years ago. But we're also not talking about a veteran who's available simply because he can't play anymore. Wagner started all 17 games for Washington in 2025 and finished the season with 162 tackles. He also recorded 4.5 sacks. his highest total since 2022. And when you put those numbers next to his resume, suddenly this possibility starts getting pretty interesting. We're talking about a Super Bowl champion, a 6-time first-team All-Pro, and a 10-time Pro Bowler. That kind of experience doesn't just show up on the market every day. And maybe even more important than all of that, Wagner feels like the kind of player who fits what Mike Vrabel is trying to build in New England. Vrabel wants a football team that's physical, disciplined, competitive, and filled with guys who know exactly what needs to be done when the pressure is on. Wagner has basically spent his entire career being that kind of player. I'm not saying the Patriots should hand him a massive contract, or look at Wagner as some 3-year solution. That wouldn't be the idea at all. This would be something completely different. A short-term deal for a proven veteran who can step in immediately and give this defense another layer of security while this team believes it can compete right now. And there's another detail that makes this conversation even more interesting. New England has already shown a willingness to add veteran experience when the coaching staff believes the roster needs more depth. The recent addition of guard Greg Van Roten is a perfect example of that. So if Vrabel really believes there are still areas of his roster that need help, I wouldn't rule out another move before week 1. It doesn't necessarily have to be Wagner, but if the price is right and he still wants to play, I'm making that call because here's what connects these two situations for me. The Patriots are reaching that point in the offseason where planning has to turn into action with Gonzalez. The organization has to decide how far it's willing to go financially to lock up an elite player for the future. With the rest of the roster, New England has to decide whether it fully trusts the depth already in place or whether it wants to take advantage of one of the final opportunities on the market to add experience before the season begins. And if you're enjoying the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel because this final stretch before week 1 could still bring some major decisions in New England. And if the Patriots make a move, we're going to be right here talking about it. Personally, I'm taking care of Gonzalez first. Veterans hit the market every year. Some opportunities show up, others disappear. And there are always different ways to address certain positions on your roster. A 24-year-old elite cornerback is a different story. Gonzalez has already shown that he can be a cornerstone of this defense, and he's just now entering the prime years of his career. If the Patriots truly believe they're building something that can compete for years to come, keeping players like Gonzalez and Foxborough has to be part of that plan. After that, I'm looking at Wagner, and at the right price, I'd feel pretty good about bringing him to New England. Not because Bobby Wagner is going to walk through that door and single-handedly transform the Patriots defense. That's not the point. The point is that NFL seasons are long. Injuries happen, young players go through ups and downs, and adjustments have to be made. And when December rolls around and every game starts carrying even more weight, experience matters. Having a player with Wagner's resume, leadership, and recent production available to Vrabel could make a real difference in exactly those moments. That's why I think these next few weeks are going to be so interesting. New England isn't just trying to put together the best possible roster for week 1. This organization is also making decisions that could shape the way this team is built for years to come. On one side, Christian Gonzalez wants to be paid like one of the best players at his position, and the Patriots have publicly said they want to keep him. On the other, Vrabel admits the depth can still improve while proven veterans remain available. Now it's time for those words to turn into action. So now I want to hear from you, Pats Nation. If it were up to you, what's the first move you're making? Are you getting the Gonzalez deal done right now? Or are you bringing another major piece into this defense before the opener? Let me know where you stand down in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you join the channel and turn on those notifications, because if anything big goes down in New England, we're going to be right here covering it. The season is almost here. The decisions are getting bigger, and now it's time to find out what the Patriots are really willing to do. Let's ride, Pats Nation. Go Pats!